Josh Brolin has been in Hollywood long enough to know that interviews can swing from deeply personal to hilariously spontaneous in a matter of seconds. That's exactly what happened when the veteran actor sat down with Stephen Colbert for a recent appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. What began as a discussion about his latest projects turned into a surprisingly comedic exchange that left both the audience and Brolin himself laughing out loud. The segment started predictably enough. Colbert introduced Brolin with his usual warm enthusiasm, recapping the actor's storied career and his current work. Known for roles in films such as No Country for Old Men, Sicario, and of course as Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Brolin hardly needs an introduction. Still, Colbert highlighted his versatility, joking that Brolin could terrify audiences 1 minute and charm them the next. Brolin, dressed casually in a dark jacket and open-collared shirt, walked out to roaring applause. He greeted Colbert with a hug and a hearty handshake before settling into his seat. What followed over the next several minutes was a conversation that reminded viewers of why talk shows remain such a unique part of celebrity culture. Unscripted moments, genuine laughter, and unexpected tangents. The lighthearted moment came about midway through the interview. Colbert asked Brolin about his experience playing larger-than-life characters, particularly Thanos. Instead of delivering a rehearsed line about the challenges of acting with motion capture technology, Brolin leaned into the comedy of the situation. "You know, Stephen, it's hard to be taken seriously when you're standing in front of Robert Downey Jr. in a purple leotard with a foam headpiece sticking 3 feet above your actual head," Brolin quipped, sending Colbert into a fit of laughter. The crowd roared as Colbert pretended to mimic the sight, standing up and staggering around in exaggerated fashion. From there, the two launched into a playful back and forth. Colbert asked if Brolin had ever tried wearing the costume home, just to scare his neighbors. Brolin shot back. "Only once, but the Homeowners Association wasn't thrilled. Something about traumatizing the kids on Halloween, when it wasn't actually Halloween." The exchange underscored Brolin's quick wit, something fans don't always get to see when he's buried in intense dramatic roles. The interview continued with a mixture of sincerity and humor. Colbert inquired about Brolin's family life, particularly his role as a father. Instead of pivoting into a standard answer about parenting, Brolin chose to lighten the mood. "I think my kids are the only people in the world unimpressed by Thanos," he joked. "At home I'm just the guy who forgets to put the milk back in the fridge." Colbert pounced on the comment, teasing that even the Mad Titan has to deal with ordinary domestic struggles. That particular exchange struck a chord with the studio audience, who applauded enthusiastically. It was a moment that humanized Brolin, showcasing that beneath the intimidating characters he portrays, he is relatable in his everyday frustrations. The pair also touched on Brolin's passion for writing. Recently, the actor has been open about his interest in poetry and prose, something Colbert teased him about. "So you're a tough guy with a soft side?" Colbert asked with a raised eyebrow. Brolin, not missing a beat, replied, "I'm basically a cowboy who writes haikus about sunsets. Don't tell anyone." The audience erupted with laughter once again, and Colbert leaned back in mock astonishment, declaring, "You're single-handedly ruining my image of Hollywood tough guys." But perhaps the most memorable moment came when Colbert pulled out a mock prop, a giant purple foam glove resembling the Infinity Gauntlet. Handing it to Brolin, he asked if the actor could still snap convincingly. Brolin obliged, slipping the oversized glove on, and raising it dramatically to the camera. He paused, gave a mischievous grin, and snapped his fingers. Colbert immediately dropped to the floor in exaggerated fashion as though he had been dusted. A direct callback to one of the most famous scenes in film history. The audience exploded with laughter and applause, clearly enjoying the playful parody. That bit not only delighted fans but also reminded viewers of the cultural impact Brolin's portrayal of Thanos has had. Even years after Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, the snap remains a pop culture reference point, one that audiences still find endlessly amusing. After regaining his composure, Colbert shifted gears back into serious territory, asking Brolin about his upcoming projects. The actor spoke passionately about an independent film he is currently working on, describing it as a story with grit, heart, and something very human at its core. He noted how much he values opportunities to balance blockbuster roles with smaller, more personal projects. Still, even in those moments of earnest discussion, the levity of their earlier exchange lingered. When Colbert asked whether Brolin still enjoys the fame that comes with Hollywood, Brolin chuckled and replied, "I enjoy interviews like this more than paparazzi following me to the grocery store. If they want to take pictures of me buying frozen waffles at 10 p.m., that's their issue." The audience once again erupted in laughter, appreciating Brolin's candid honesty. The closing minutes of the interview carried the same energy. Colbert thanked Brolin for being such a gracious guest, and complimented him on his ability to balance gravitas with humor. "You're proof that you can play the most terrifying villain in cinema history, and still be the funniest guy in the room," Colbert said. Brolin smiled humbly and replied, "I think life's too short not to laugh at yourself, especially if you've spent months wearing a purple bodysuit." As the band played and Colbert walked him off stage, the atmosphere in the studio remained lively, the audience clearly entertained by the mix of comedy and genuine conversation. Social media later buzzed with clips of the exchange, with fans praising Brolin's humor and Colbert's knack for creating spontaneous comedic gold. The interview became a reminder of what makes these talk show appearances so special. Beyond promoting films or discussing careers, they create opportunities for viewers to see celebrities in an unguarded, human light. Brolin's ability to laugh at himself, poke fun at his career, and share relatable anecdotes stood out as the highlight of the evening. For Colbert, it was yet another example of his skill as an interviewer. Someone who can weave serious questions with playful banter, ensuring both the guest and the audience walk away entertained. Brolin's career shows no signs of slowing down. Whether taking on complex roles in major franchises, lending his voice to poetic reflections, or making audiences laugh on national television, he continues to prove why he remains one of Hollywood's most versatile talents. The light-hearted moment with Colbert may not have been scripted or rehearsed, but it was precisely that spontaneity that made it resonate. In a world where celebrity interviews often feel carefully curated, the genuine laughter and playful antics between Josh Brolin and Stephen Colbert offered a refreshing dose of authenticity. For fans watching at home, the takeaway was simple. Even Hollywood's biggest stars are at their best when they let their guard down and share a laugh.